This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube. And today I have a guest from here in British Columbia, where I am for the next little while. He is the promoter of Thrash Wrestling, former wrestler too. For anyone that doesn't know, this is a regular wrestling company that runs in numerous cities in BC. So, Nick Solansky, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm really sleepy today, but I'm good. Yeah, I can't complain.
That's quite a title collection you have in the back there.
Well, two of them are just replicas, and one's an old belt that we used to use. I mean, you remember like the you must have seen this belt. Like I don't know how many promotions had them back in the day, right? The official independent wrestling promotion belt. You get it on High Spots.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had one too.
that's funny.
Yeah,
When did you actually start in the wrestling business?
about 2007. Yeah,
And who
officially.
trained you?
I mean, I came up as a backyard wrestler. Did I lose you, or did you just
Oh,
go?
I
Oh,
just I just took myself out so people don't have to stare at my ugly face while you're telling the story.
oh, okay. Well, I got to stare at my ugly face then. I started in as a backyard wrestler for several years, and then like it kind of got introduced into pro wrestling by Michelle Starr in BC, and he came down and started introducing training to us, and then throughout other wrestlers, right? We got trained. I got a lot over the years. Most of my training by Black Dragon or Brett Como, who's still around in the area, comes over once in a while for a beer here and there.
Yeah, for those who don't know, could you tell us a bit about him? Because I think I've only ever seen him wrestle once, which was at I think the Stu Hart 80th anniversary or 80th birthday show or something like that.
Oh yeah, it must have been a while back. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty much retired now, but like he trained, yeah, with guys like Lance Storm and Chris Jericho back in the day. He broke into the business in '89, and then he wrestled for 30 years probably, and yeah, but he kind of finished off his career here with me in thrash wrestling, and he's won our belt dozens of times, but like a handful of times, right? He kind of was a mentor to us around the Okanagan, like while we were building wrestling up and uh and coming into our own, right?
Mike Gunn here says you look like Mike Tenay. Have you ever got that before?
No, no, but I mean everybody's got to look like somebody, right? Mike Tenay. Well, at least I'm recognizable, I guess.
So how was the BC wrestling scene here before you took over? Because we always hear about how great it was in the 80s. And even Stampede Wrestling, I think, was running here at one point in the 80s with Brian Adams, manager, helping promote the events. But then it kind of seems to died off a little bit, but now it's coming back. But it doesn't seem like WWE comes to any of the secondary towns here anymore. It seems like they're only in Vancouver now. So does that leave a door open for someone like you to promote?
Yeah, you could say, right? Like, um, when I started running more shows in Kelowna and Vernon and Penticton, uh, by that time, All Star Wrestling had pretty much given me the title of the promoter of the area, right? Like they weren't coming down anymore. They were like, we're gonna stay in Vancouver and primarily those areas on the coast, right? Because I think they finally felt that like, okay, it's in good enough hands that like you can just run the Okanagan, and that's basically what I do. I run the BC interior. The Okanagan is mostly what I do. So yeah, and that was probably a good 15 years ago. And you can't really mark my words on how long things have been because it's all off the top of my head right now, right? So Yeah.
You run Vernon a lot too, right? It's what's so special about Vernon? Because I hear that they have MMA shows there too, more frequently than Kelowna, for instance, where Kelowna I think is a bigger town, but maybe the rest. How do you compare the two towns?
Well, Kelowna's bigger. It's more of the hub for thrash wrestling right now. I run Vernon every 2 or 3 months. I live in Vernon, so it makes it easy for me, right? And as far as MMA is concerned, yeah, there's an uh, OFC MMA. They're just out of Vernon. That's why they primarily will run a big event in Vernon. And I don't know how much MMA is really in Kelowna, so I won't throw it under the bus. I just know that I'm friends with the guys of the OFC, and they've got an event June 14th. God, I hope it's June 14th, because otherwise I just mispronounce. It's June 14th anyway. So I can always I could tell you about them, but I don't know much about the MMA that's coming out of Kelowna, really. I know there's boxing clubs and whatnot, but
Okay, I see. So, what kind of stars have you used as far as stars from outside that you've brought in for events over the years?
well, notable guys, right? We've used Chris Masters a handful of times, and he's always been really good with us, right? We like having him. We just had Eugene a few weeks ago, and we've had Austin Aries and Frankie Kazarian, and probably a handful of other guys, but on the spot I can't even. I'm looking at my wall where all my posters are. I'm like scrambling for who have I had now, but I've had quite a few guys. We had Rhino, D'Lo Brown came through here, right? All kinds of guys, really.
Why do you think the bigger companies stopped coming here as far as like WWE? Because they did do a couple tapings here in the early 2000s, and then it seems like they just ran a couple house shows after that and then totally stopped coming. Is it just too far for them to come for the crowds that they're going to get?
Yeah, probably, right? Like when you look at like Calgary and Vancouver and Edmonton and all the big cities in like the Western Canada area, right? Kelowna is kind of a fraction of their size. So unless they're trying to fill the dates, they're not going to get the same gates coming to like Kelowna or Kamloops, right? So that would be my guess, is that they're just not getting the numbers that they want out of these smaller cities, right?
Yeah, because in the old days, rather than run Vancouver multiple nights in a row, they would come to Kamloops or Kelowna on one of those nights for another taping. Did you understand why WCW randomly came here, like for Nitros? It was so random of all the places in Canada to pick that they would pick some of these BC towns.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, right? Like I might have been like 19 or something when they came. So I don't know why they picked to come to Kelowna, and I missed it. I was so angry that night. Like I'd never miss wrestling shows when they come to Kelowna, especially if it's like WWE or WCW at the time. But I missed it, and I was so mad. I don't know why they chose to come. I heard it was a good show. I heard all about it, but I missed it. I was so mad. So I don't really know
What did you have on that was so much more important?
fuck, I don't know, man. I just, probably nothing. I don't know. I was a kid, so I probably was just broke. But I'm still kicking myself to this day, right? I just didn't make it happen, and yeah. But all the SmackDowns and the live shows that came, I never missed any of that. But the one time that WCW came, I missed it.
Is there any events that stand out to you that you've seen here over the years from WWE?
I mean, they haven't come here like the last WWE show to come to Kelowna anyway. Was an NXT show, and I caught that. It was great. But other than Vancouver, they had SummerSlam last year. Not SummerSlam, but Survivor Series. And that was great. But yeah, as far as the Okanagan, like Kelowna doesn't get very much. I think like that's just an example of how they've downsized coming to Kelowna, right? They brought an NXT taping, or I don't even know if it was a taping, but they brought NXT. Whereas yeah, back in the early 2000s, they'd have SmackDown and whatnot come through and other live events, but we don't see it very often around here.
Yeah, it's weird that they don't really tour NXT outside of Florida now, other than like for their TV tapings. They'll go to some other places, but it seems like the house shows they just run places in Florida where they're not necessarily going to get big crowds at all. Whereas if they travel around more, some of these towns that don't get WWE anymore, they probably do better.
Yeah, well, they don't tour as much anymore. Like I think the
Right.
live events are coming to an end at that too. So
Yeah, I guess it's just not worth it because it's how. What are some of the secrets to your success to run multiple events a year and not lose money?
just be relentless. I mean, I don't know. Wrestling doesn't sell itself. So if you don't get off your ass and go out and put the posters up and make the ads and spend them, if you don't spend the money, you won't make the money, right? So you just got to just believe in whatever you're doing, right? So like wrestling does not, you can't just say on Facebook or something, oh, wrestling's coming to wherever, right? And expect people like, well, it's wrestling, we should go, right? It takes more than that, right? You got to shove it in their face. I mean, not always, but at least you have to try. Like it's not an easy sell. Like some of these towns, these spot towns, like we'll do a town like Revelstoke, and they haven't had wrestling in 20 years. So 450 people show up to it, right? But when you're running your regular shows and you just get a regular fan base, right? They'll show up in like 200 people per town a month, right? So with that, you can live on that, right? Like you can bank on it most of the time, but it doesn't mean that you can't go without promoting it, right? Like go to the town, put the posters up, sell the tickets, get the interviews, do the press releases. It's all the same formula every month, right? For every show that you're going to run. So you can't avoid it, right?
Yeah, 100%. And you probably put the posters up yourself too a lot of the time because you can't always trust people to otherwise.
That's the story of my life. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I literally, I travel to Nelson. I travel the trail. I travel. I'm going to Creston and Cranbrook next week with posters and tickets. And yeah, I do it. I pretty much do it all myself. You know, I get a little bit of help once in a while, but who am I kidding? I do it myself, you know.
So, what do you have coming up for the fans watching this? If there's any in the areas to know about the events.
Well, we have a fair in Lumbee, which is a small town just outside of Vernon. They have Lumbee Days, and that's June 13th and 14th, I believe. And then June 21st, we're in Kelowna again at the Ukrainian Hall. We run Kelowna monthly, right, to say the least. So that's kind of like our hub show, right, like our house show, if you will. And then at the end of June, like I said, we're doing Creston and Cranbrook, which is a tour. It's probably 6 hours away from here in the East Kootenays. And then, well, we have the Armstrong Metal Fest, July. Bear with me. I don't want to say the wrong date. July 12th. And then July 18th and 19th, we're in Penticton and Kelowna again. Oh, and we're in Penticton May 30th at the Luso Hall. So that's the next event is the 30th.
Okay, so that's coming up.
Yeah.
How far is that from Kelowna?
About an hour.
Okay.
Like there's three kind of like small cities in the Okanagan. There's Vernon, Kelowna, which is the biggest, and Penticton. Vernon and Penticton are on either side of Kelowna, right? So, and then there's little towns all around, right?
Well, I may have to show up at one of these and check it out. You guys put on pretty good girls matches too. Are you flying these girls in from like Washington and stuff?
Well, we don't have to fly them. They don't come, like it's not that far for them to drive. So we do bring a couple girls from Washington, and then like sometimes we'll fly girls out of Edmonton. I try to keep a women's division healthy, right? Like I try to anyway. Like it can be tough, and quite often the girls just end up fighting the boys because I mean, for lack of other competition. That's just what you get, right? But for the most part, I think I do a pretty good job of pitting girls against girls, and which is primarily what we should be doing, right? So, it can be a struggle to try to always be trying to keep a fresh card and not repeat yourself too often. But I mean, we're trying, right?
Scotty Mack, I remember him from Matt Rats. Somebody says, "What happened to Scotty Mack?"
He's still on the coast. He doesn't wrestle as often. I can't speak for him, right? But he wrestles with a promotion called CAW, and he's often on Vancouver Island Pro Wrestling. He's still around. I think he's slowed down a bit. Like, he's been around forever, right? Been like one of BC's top pioneer veterans, right? But he's still out there. He's still grinding.
Did those guys that were, one of them was from BC, that was with Karrion Kross's group there. I don't know if they've ever done an independent show, but they were with WWE and NXT for a while, and they were just released. Do you know if that guy lives in BC? I forget his name, the Indian guy.
Oh, that was with Paul Ellering.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they are from BC. I met a guy in Kamloops that knows them, but I've never worked with them. I think they pretty much went to the top, and I don't think they've done much independence. I can't speak for them. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're paid to train and all that, yeah, it's just, you don't really have the motivation to do the lower levels if you don't have the heart for it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really speak for him. I can't. I don't want to mispronounce his name either, so I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because if he still did live around here and wanted to get into it, you'd be the guy, obviously.
Yeah, I think they live on the coast, or at least they're from somewhere in the Vancouver area. Right?
Okay. Have you ever seen the Ogopogo living in the Okanagan?
Oh yeah, everybody's seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see him too, right? It's a statue in the park.
Oh.
Otherwise, it's probably, I don't want to ruin the superstition. It's probably a giant lake sturgeon or something. But I mean, it could be a monster. But how long do monsters live? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely could. I've heard other people say that the sturgeons get pretty huge out here.
I don't know. I've never seen a lake monster, but I know there's a statue, and that's the Ogopogo that you can go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go look for that. Is the statue near the arena?
It's right downtown in the park, right by the bridge. Right.
Okay.
If you were to walk through the park and down to the downtown area, you would find it. It's not very big. We had Eugene here a few weeks ago, and it was like the one thing that he wanted to go and do. And he was like, "Well, can you take me to see this statue?" And I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, it's not that far from the airport. Like, it's across town, but it's only Kelowna. So I drove him there, and he got a picture with it. And, there you go. Into Kelowna, you've seen it all. You've seen the Ogopogo, right?
Yeah, because the cab driver that picked me from the airport hadn't even heard of it. I'm like, how do you not know what it is?
Yeah, how did you make it to Kelowna without knowing what the Ogopogo was, I guess?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to see it if it exists. I specifically got a place where I could stare at the water. So, if you haven't seen it after all these years, I won't put too much trust in that I will see it.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, we cover that type of stuff on this channel too, so I know my fans would want to know about it. So where can people follow you if they want to know more about Thrash Wrestling?
Well, either Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And it's all just Thrash Wrestling BC or just Thrash Wrestling on Facebook. I don't have a website, but we just cover the social media, right? And it seems to be good. It gathers enough attention, right, for modern fans.
Yeah. I don't even think you need websites anymore, other than to give a page where your links can be for all the social media. That's pretty much
just to point you out where you're going anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I'll let you close this off with whatever you want to tell the fans. Thank you for joining me.
Man, I don't know what I'd say, right? Like, come check out Thrash Wrestling in Kelowna, June 21st. And then if you're in Creston and Cranbrook, June 27th and 28th. And if you're in Penticton, May 30th. And Lumby, June, I have to look at my phone, June 13th and 14th, I think. And the Armstrong Metal Fest. We're definitely at the Armstrong Metal Fest. And I'll plug my buddy's show at the OFC in Vernon, the Okanagan Fighting Championships, June 14th, right? So check those out. They're all going to be bangers. And yeah, don't miss the wrestling.